We can gain a lot of valuable information by looking closely at our dog's posture. Whether they are standing tall, leaning forward, leaning back, all of this can help us to understand what our dogs might be trying to communicate to us. Here we see a dog who's very, very scared, and there are some notable details about the way that this dog is standing that can help us to recognize that she is scared. You can see that her head is dropped low beneath the height of her shoulders and hips, and her entire body is lowered as she's moving forward, causing her to be in this creeping sort of motion as she walks. Here we have another scared dog in a very distinctive posture. We see that this dog is standing a little bit more upright, but we have that front paw lifted up, and the dog is not taking a step. That front paw lift is a way of communicating that the dog is afraid, and it also allows the dog to move in the other direction more quickly because they feel threatened. This is actually different from what we would see in a dog who has their front paw raised because they're pointing like a hunting dog. Those dogs are going to have a forward-facing, confident posture when their paw is raised. Here we have a video of our nervous buddy from the last few days. This guy, you can see, actually has his front paws spread out wide. He's bracing himself in place. And again, just like our first dog, today he has a dropped posture, so his head is actually lowered to about the height of his hips. When a dog is afraid, but also ready to defend themselves, we might see them actually stand tall instead of dropping their posture. So here we have a dog who's very nervous, and she is actually standing tall with head and tail raised and up on her toes. It's almost as if you could imagine invisible strings at each joint pulling her slightly upward. This helps her to tell others who might come close that she's big, she means business, and that she is willing to defend herself. Here we have a very commonly misunderstood posture. On the left, we have a dog who's rolled over onto his side. Two of his legs are raised. All of his legs are very stiff, and his head is raised and looking straight at the person who's holding the camera. That dog is very, very scared. That dog does not want to be touched. On the right, we have a dog who's rolling over and requesting contact and belly rubs. This dog has loose legs. They're just sort of flopped over. His head is turned away. He's not really looking at the person who's touching him. We see that his face is relaxed. His whole body is relaxed. He's actually pushing into the hand voluntarily. We can use all of those signs to help us understand whether the dog is rolling over to communicate that they are tapping out of the interaction and they actually want the person to go away, or if they're requesting contact. Another specific element of body language we can look for is whether the dog is leaning forward or away. The dog on the left is leaning forward towards the person that he's interacting with and is clearly very comfortable and engaged. He's enjoying that interaction quite a bit. The dog on the right is leaning away and turning their head away from the person who's holding the camera. This dog is feeling defensive and would likely to become more uncomfortable if the person were to move forward closer to them. Here we have another example of forward-leaning posture. This dog is very intently focused on something, and all of her movement is hyper-focused towards whatever it is that she's looking at. Paired with her soft eyes and her sweeping tail, we can speculate that this is probably a playful movement. In other cases, paired with different body language signals, this kind of forward lean could be a little bit threatening. In this specific example, the only thing that needs to feel threatened is a frisbee. Here we have a relaxed dog with neutral posture. You can see that she's neither leaning very far forward or back, that she's not particularly lifted on her toes. She's simply relaxed and mildly interested in the person who's holding the camera. A common theme you'll notice amongst our body language signals is that the less effort it takes the dog to perform the action, the more likely they are to actually be relaxed. In this case, it's not taking her very much effort to stand this way. And here we see a puppy who's putting no effort in at all to holding themselves up. She is totally spread out, hips splayed out behind her. and looking very, very comfortable with her favorite toys. The looser your dog appears to be, the more relaxed they're likely to be.